She's telling me it's recording. Hello, Randall.
Hello.
I think we're on. I think it's been a while, my friend. I think it's been about 6 months since we've done one of these.
Yes.
If not a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think it's been quite a while.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back.
I've never left. I
I know.
I stayed in the background, right? I stayed in the background. Yes. And I must say thank you for becoming a celebrity.
Celebrity.
How does it feel? With Charlie?
We had fun. I mean, it was, Danusha had written his book and she was thinking about introducing us. And I said, after a while, I said, okay, whatever, and I've known Sasha for a long time. We've been looking forward to doing a video, and we did that one, and Anna, the same kind of thing. So that's probably the only one we'll do with them, but who knows?
Who's next?
Yeah, who's next? Lee Mudway. Well, the most important one is right here, man, because this is my brother. Yes.
We're here today for this one. So that'll be interesting. So what's new anyway? I haven't spoke to you this week, my friend.
Well, it's mostly what I want to start this off with for everyone is to know that this man right here is the one who coined the phrase comfort income, okay, that I babble on about all the time. Everybody wants to talk about basic income and the New World Order plan, the Build Back Better plan, whatever they call their shit show is based on, maybe we could consider that basic income, which is a socialist communist agenda, as we know, ready to exploit and manipulate mankind once again. So Lee and myself and many others have brought this back to love. What is love? Love is consciousness for every single damn human being on earth. We came from love. We were here born in love, most of us, even if our mother and father didn't really love each other, God loved us enough to get us into that first, position to get that semen into that egg, and away we went, So the miracle, if you want to call it that, the grand mystery of God, which is the goodness in everyone and everything, is what started this for us. So it's all about love, and what it's going to end with before Lee and I are done is fucking love, because we've had enough. We're going to see comfort for every single human being before we're done. And it doesn't matter the language we use. And we're going to discuss some of that language today, folks, but we've had enough. Like, you want to keep manipulating and exploiting, and, there was a propaganda campaign started, and then by a very few people, and then mankind decided to manipulate and exploit each other. That's all that's going on. There's no fucking virus or any of that shit. It's just a propaganda campaign, and each human being, whether they be socialist, communist, or capitalist, has exploited their way. I know how to fix it. I know how it did this. I know how it did that. Come on, folks, just bring it back to love. Bring it back to the complete understanding that we capitulated to a propaganda campaign, and that's all that's going on. I'm done. Sorry, my brother, but I had to get that out of my system. I love you.
I love you, brother. You do it. And I can't fault a word of it. It's true. And the idea of basic to me is, no. We did capitulate. Yes, we have been propagandized, and yes, we did fall for all of that. And we've fallen for this limited life and limited freedom and limited everything, limited belief, limited capability. You name it. It's all limited by design, right? So if we start off anew, if we create anew from a limited base, well, we're just going straight back into the same game. So that makes no sense to me in the slightest. And when we're looking at basic, well, that's limited. That includes needing a handout and needs control, and somebody's telling us what it can and can't be. Well, we fell for the propaganda of a few. How about now we don't anymore, and we actually create from ourselves as a whole? And where would we start? And the first place I would start with guaranteeing and saying to everybody, comfort is where we start with and move forward. We don't start with a basic and then say, well, this is how do we get better? No. We start with a lot more and say, right, how are we going to utilize this for the benefit of all, inclusive of all, with integrity and acknowledging that everybody is different. But that's with love, right? And that's consciousness, and that's taking a step back from yourself and saying what's best for all. And yeah, I walk into most of these conversations like that, my friend. Let's see where it's going to go from that level. This is the starting point. Nothing basic. Why would we accept that? Who would even sort of cajole the idea that now is the time to start off with basic? No. Let's remove the ideas of limitation and start again with limitless. Where would we start? What would you wish for everybody else to have? Not yourself necessarily, but everybody. What can we do as a whole this time, rather than as the few telling everybody what to do and us believing them? But that's where I come into this from, my brother. So I'm still interested.
Beautiful.
I'm still interested though in any ideas in what you've been following up with your banking systems that you're working with.
Well, brother, the bottom line is that anybody can figure out this real simple truth that I'm going to speak right now. Very simple truth, from the complexity of getting involved in every aspect of banking that I've been involved in and experienced, to all of your studies and all of your knowledge and wisdom, Lee. We come to the same conclusion, okay? Currency, cash, and credit are all manifested by mankind, as is the value of each of those, or a value of any of it. So in other words, man has just manifested the monetary system and manifested it in a way to manipulate and exploit humanity. And so we've now come to that very basic truth, agreement with so many people that work with you and I in various sectors. Your sector being focused more lately on GPMS, which is a beautiful design, okay? Beautiful, unlimited design, unlimited. Key words here, folks, because corporation and limited company, it's just so obvious that these words have been indoctrinated into our brains to get us to capitulate to that corporate agenda, whether it be the birth certificate person, which is a corporate agenda, or this whole manufactured, manipulated, manifested world of man,
Amazing.
So thank you.
Did you see, out of interest, I'm just talking about persons and personages, did you see Mr. Christopher's video yesterday or the day before, banning that? I'm just openly banning the use of the word, or anybody that would develop a personage. Interesting. It's just interesting. It's just drawing a comparison from you to saying persons and personage within that corporate structure to what Mark's saying at the same time now.
I didn't watch it, brother, but I feel and see so many people right now, so many living men and women right now that are attaching to what I call divine source energy, or divine neural activation, as our friend Stephen said. Another unrecognized, wonderful angel out there, for thinking of something like that. It's just such a beautiful statement that I want to give her that credit again. But, there's so many people that have done that on their own, and that takes a lot of alone time. It takes a lot of getting rid of all of the outside media of any kind, like you've been doing for months, brother, just going into meditation and connecting direct to the divine source energy. And when we do that, then statements like Mark Christopher's come out, and we think, well, that's kind of like what Lee said, or that's kind of like what Randall said. Well, it's because there is one source energy that we can all connect to. And Rick Jewer's the same way. He's doing the same thing. He's connecting to divine source. The challenge then lies with bringing that to the public and telling everyone that they can be it. They can be the one that changes the whole world of man without crossing over into that 3D perspective, but doing it on a spiritual level within, spending time on your own and just saying, God Almighty, I'm it. And I'm going to change this whole damn world structure, world being the construct of the human man, right? And just focusing our energy within. And then the downloads come to us on an individual basis, brother. And then we spew those words out. The challenge has been for a few of these people, and I'm not going to name names, but there are systems that have been developing that people want to lay credit to in the 3D now, rather than giving that credit to the God, the source energy, the wonderful divine oneness that we are, and just saying, that's what I got it from. That's where I got it. It wasn't me, you know? So that energy and that purpose and that explanation to the people often gets caught up into idolatry, or, you know, oh, well, he must be the Messiah, or, you know, the political field, it's Donald Trump, you know, the leader of the free world. It doesn't matter, you know, like, go inside and discover that, and you'll find that those same language that Lee and I are speaking, comfort, income, and, you know, love for all mankind. Sorry, I'm going off.
No, I'm just sitting here nodding, going, yes, you speak for me, brother. You say those words and you're actually talking beautiful sense. So no, it makes perfect sense to me. And taking that time to look inside and say, you know, it's a bit like, what would you do for your family? What would you want for your family, a direct family, or your sons or daughters? What would you want for them? Do you want basic, or do you want comfort? What would you want for somebody you love? Right, and then expanding that to, well, I've got no reason not to love everybody. Why don't I love everybody? What you know? And this just keeps going, and these questions keep coming out of you for yourself, inside of yourself, which is where you exist and where everything exists, the one in the all in the one. So if we can ask these questions to ourselves, and we answer them honestly to ourselves of what we would want for our loved ones, then why wouldn't we want that for everybody? And if we can give that to everybody, and if we can maintain that worldview of, I would like this for myself, my loved ones, and therefore everybody, it opens doors to inside of you to see more around other people, and gives you more compassion maybe for other people's views, decisions, belief systems, actions. All of these things come into that same bubble. What would you do to somebody you loved if they did those things? Well, you would forgive them. Or, you know, and this is how it moves forward, right? As we ask ourselves these questions. It's very difficult to ask anybody else, because then all you get is an opinion. You need to know. Right. The only way you know is by asking yourself, and constantly asking yourself, and reassuring and reaffirming it with yourself. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? And then speaking these words openly to other people. And of course, there is this unfortunate indoctrination and limitation that's been imposed upon people very, very well, as we've said, well, as I've said before, I doff my cap, which limits people's beliefs and mind systems at this point in time into saying, well, we can't have that. They wouldn't give it us it. Well, this isn't about anybody giving us it. This is about now taking what is ours and giving us ourselves. And this is where this progresses forward with the GPMS ideas. Yeah, carry on. I'm rambling now.
Yeah, no, I want you to continue. Don't forget that thought. I have to just turn my phone for a second here and get rid of the Wi-Fi, because I've noticed a little bit of lag. So if I get rid of Wi-Fi, it usually gets me clean. Just bear with me for 1 second, brother.
Meditate on it, brother. Clean it. Transmute it.
Okay, I think we got it now. I changed it. So please go on. That was beautiful conversation coming from you, brother.
Let's get you back first.
Okay.
Where are you? There we go. There we go. There we go. I don't know. I was on a flow, my friend, and it seems to have slowed. But the GPMS idea is this. It's the concept of a newer system which is controlled 100% by everybody, not limited in any way, shape, or form, except limited to what I would class as a transitional period from inception onwards. But from inception onwards, when we talk about this a little bit more, it makes more sense as to what I'm talking about at this point. But the limitations are self-made now. There is no reason for anybody to feel that there is anything that's necessarily limited, be that food sources, resources, land, monetary system, everything, spirit, everything is unlimited. Once we step past that basic idea of limitation, which is indoctrinated. You are nothing. We are everything. We need to tell you what to do, and you believe us. Well, I'm not so sure that's going to work much longer, my friend.
It's not.
So sovereignty comes into this, and accountability and standing in your own power, right? But that comes from knowing who you are as an individual, right? As God's source, as divine spark, it's whatever you want to call yourself, as or whatever one you believe yourself to be. It makes no difference. Sovereign human being.
The beauty of that, Lee, is that there are so many teachers out there right now. Like, you know, back in the day of Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Buddha, you know, those days there wasn't that capacity to reach the masses like we have now. And even though we've reached the masses with, you know, various teachers, Mark Christopher being one, Anna von Reitz being another, Russell J. Gould being a kind of a strange one, but a wonderful one. You know, you name it. There's like dozens and dozens of teachers and instructors out there right now. Even Kim Gagon, I want to mention her name because she's trying to tell everybody, you can be the one, you know?
Yep.
And that's what Jesus Christ was trying to tell us too. You can be the one. You are a godly creature. You can change the whole world. If you stick with your ideas and they're nothing but love, then you can change the whole world. So you know, sometimes I come down on Kim, but I'm honestly, she's trying to teach people, you know?
Everybody's on their own path, it seems, at this point in time. And for me, it seems there's X amount of pictures, as I said this before, and I'll say it again. There's lots of puzzle pieces seems to be on this plane at the moment. Lots of people that are expanded consciousness, that are running different schemes, ideas, giving out information that is very, very relevant and very, very pertinent and very, very real to inside of their own schemes. They just seem to have the sort of, unfortunately, right now, they seem to have the idea that it's theirs rather than everybody's. And I believe that over a period, and it could be short period, it could be long, it depends, over a period, hopefully very short, that a lot of these schemes and ideas and notions and that are all beneficial will come together. And hopefully that's where, in my opinion, that's where GPMS sits, where all of these ideas can meet and just create from there, and bring everybody into that sort of creation movement, which does unlimit money, technology, funding for everything. And I know that you're running with the ancient and the off-ledger banking accounts. They're just a bonus to all of this. They're sort of a cherry on the cake. If they can come in now, great, you know, and move this forward, brilliant. And the same with the assemblies. I think that's a fabulous idea, taking those ideas, because worst case scenarios, it educates people into realizing what the Maritime Admiralty control factions or control structures had in place, and how the court systems and how the governments, government corporations had manipulated control, not via other systems above them. So this manipulation and this suppression and this oppression and slavery, if you want to call it that, has been going on for such a long time that everybody now is so used to it that they would be, it's almost fearful to think that they wouldn't be enslaved. And and this idea is to say, well, you don't know, just throw them all away. But I can't, no, you don't, just let go. No, you don't, come on. So it's that idea of just getting people to think past that limited mindset of this will never happen, or this can't happen, or they won't let us do that, to why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Why can't we just redesign it all? Why can't we take what's there and make it beneficial rather than artificial or manipulable? Make it constant, make it simple, make it private, make it all the things it should have been prior, or all the things it could have been had the intent been there when it was first designed. per se,
right.
let us say. What's your feeling?
And it goes right back to the basics of love. Once again, you know, like it's knowing that each of these individuals, and we've mentioned quite a number of them, you know, now, and there's many, many more who have not been controlled. You know, they've recognized the exploitation and manipulation of mankind and the somewhat divine naivety of the average human beings who truly just want to be kind and to love their family and do their own thing. They don't have a desire to change the whole world. They just want to love. They just want to live, you know? So we know that. And they've been exploited and manipulated because of that kindness and love that's inherent in them. So those of us that have seen through the veil, and there's thousands, if not, there's millions of us. It's not the 144,000, it's millions.
Yeah.
And we've seen through the veil, and now there's no stopping it, Lee. Like it'll be a transitionary thing. But, you know, some of the names you've mentioned, or we've mentioned today, like Anna and Kim, and I don't know about Kim, she's starting to come, I believe, but there's others out there, like even just inside the bank who I work with. Charlie Ward is another one who knows this system like the back of his hand. You know, these people are gathering together now and, you know, kind of trying to ward off the naysayers and the ones that don't have any creative ideas of their own that are poking fingers at them or us, you know, but that's going to dissolve too, because I mean, if people really want to dig back on the internet and find my name and Google it, there was some dipshit named David Crayford years ago that called me a fucking thief. Well, if you want to believe him and jump on his bandwagon, see where he's at right now and today, you know, like at least we're still here, Lee and I and many others that are still saying to you, there is truth behind what we're saying. And it's the truth that limitation, corporation, all of that language is there, maritime admiralty, legal jurisdiction, mumbo jumbo babble. It's just garbage that we need to just get past and start thinking in terms of all.
What's it called? Bar battery, I think he calls it, the Bar Association's terminology and the way they use the words of our paper dead fictions, you know, within all these corporates. Well, yeah, they're all corporates, ships, corporate ships. Let's leave it at that. Anybody wants to go and just have a little realization about what's going on with that, check out Justinian Deception.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Who else is there? There's a few. I mean, Mark outlines quite a lot of it, Mr. Christopher. I'm not going to go into a lot more, but those do the corporate that I've actually watched, so I can vouch for what they're saying, in as much as it's very, very real in inside the structures above what we believe to be are looking after us.
Yeah. The sad part is, Lee, for me, is that I always try to think, well, how could anybody be that devious, you know, even if it's just a few people, but they're living in fear too, rather than love. They're just thinking in terms of fear. And maybe they've learned some stuff that they're afraid of, that their lives, you know where I'm going with that, brother.
You could have compassion for that. I'm not so sure. Initially by design, I'm not so sure. But yeah, I agree that a lot of the people involved in a lot of these structures, these corporate structures, may well know a little bit more than they let on, and they may well understand more, but maintain their positions through fear. Although they have light in them, you know, but I'm not so sure some of these initial intents had much light in them at all, my friend. With regards to how you don't cause this deception and deceit to manipulate and to suppress and oppress and enslave without a certain amount of darkness in you. Yeah, I would suggest.
Well, and number one, and then the other aspect of it is that when you're handed that comfort, okay, so we're going to talk about money here, because money does give you comfort. It gives you a home. If you don't have a mortgage, fake debt document,
death pledge
over your head, you know, and you just own your home, or you just have no fear of losing it, then that's good. But you can get to a stage of being kind of apathetic then too, and then your creative mind kind of starts to disappear. And that's what I think another stage we've gotten to is that, you know, the elite family members, let's just go down, let's just name one for the hell of it here. I just will drop the F again, but for the hell of it, let's just name Queen Elizabeth's son, William, you know?
Okay.
He's been handed everything all of his life. So does he have any creativity left? Does he have any will to change things for the better of humanity like his darling sister-in-law did? You know, like it doesn't seem like it. You know, he just wants to sit back and enjoy the fruits of the labor. So, you know, get creative. Even old Charlie, he got a little bit creative a few years ago, Prince Charles, and started talking in a couple of things that I saw where I thought that he made a little bit of sense, talking about love for animals and stuff like that. Like, but then they get distracted again. And I don't know, like, and for myself, just think of that now. We talked about the elites, but then just think of that in your neighborhood, to where capitalists have made enough that they've got their house paid for, they got everything paid for, and their kid can't get a job anywhere. So he's just sitting at home playing video games. Well, where do the video games go? Into that competitive mindset instead of the creative mindset. You know, we've done it to ourselves. We really have. And it's been an easy job for the very few that want to promote a propaganda campaign, and then we propagate it, like this silly notion of COVID. It's just complete utter nonsense. And from those who wanted to make it into a 5G thing off the bat to promote their story, to the people that have all these healing modalities that want to promote their story. I'm not blaming anybody for wanting to promote good stories like that, but Jesus Christ, folks, like, let's get to the raw essential of this, that it's just nothing but propaganda. 2,500 people out of 4.5 million in my province is the only number that needs to be said to anybody. And say to them, now just please, just sit by yourself and think about that number for just a second. And don't even tell me what you come up with. Just think about that one fucking equation for a second. 2,500 dead people related to, not even dead from COVID, because they can't die from COVID. You can't die from that. You die from drying up or heart attack or pneumonia or, you know, some other implication. It's, you never die from it. So
pneumonia got cured, remember? It got cured. So flu's gone, right? So you can't do that anymore.
Exactly. So we just dry up, you know, like that's all we do. We just fucking dry up. That's how we die, you know.
I was at a shop. I went to a shop yesterday.
I'm gonna put the hat back on if I keep swearing.
Randy's back.
Sorry.
No, never apologize, brother. I went to a shop yesterday and there's a guy stood out. He walked in, he was like 65-ish, big mask, and he ordered some food and walked outside. And I'm stood outside and I'm waiting. So he says to me something about the football. Now, the Euro Cups, the Euro Championships is on over here. And it's been played in Europe and the UK, I believe. Not that I'm that far into it. And all the fans are moving to stadiums. And the guy said to me, I don't know how they're allowing all these people to move without, you know, with what's going on. And I said, yeah, I know. It's almost like there's nothing out there, isn't it? And he looked at me and he said, looked at me sideways, because I haven't got a mask on, have I? So, and he said, I said, you realize that the UEFA, the actual rule makers for this actually contacted the UK government and said, we will pull that off you. We'll pull the Euro Cup finals off you if you impose any of your COVID restrictions on our delegations. At which point the guy's face looked at the floor, and that was the end of the conversation with me. And all I said is, why don't we ask ourselves the question, what's going on? You know, rather than, well, why are they doing it and I can't? Yeah. And if we can just extend that a little bit and then, but we'll see, you know, as people get more and more aware, as this becomes more and more untenable, as this, over here, the lockdown's been extended because there's many reasons. I believe that, well, one of the major ones is that there's only authority for a certain thingy under certain conditions, and one of those is lockdown. So yeah, until they've got a certain thingy into enough people, lockdown's going to maintain. So it's up to us, right, to say, no more.
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting close to, I think, brother.
We are. And I mean, either way, it's coming around. Like whether they get enough of those things in the arm to say, okay, now you're free, or we free ourselves, it's coming either way. But can these politicians ever be forgiven for what's happened? Not a hope in hell. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I should say you're forgiven for your ignorance, but get the fuck out of the way, because you're not leaders. You've just, you know, by trying to tell the people what to do, become a leader. And if you make rules and laws to do that, you then put yourself in a position of a leader. So you can't be a follower if you're a leader. You need to actually discern and know something to be a leader. So now you're no longer a leader. So get out of the way. All of you, every single politician that caved into and followed this ridiculous propaganda campaign must leave, must leave. And when those positions are vacated, we have to step in as mayors of London, Lee and mayor of I'm just kidding, Brad.
Oh, my friend.
But,
you know, else can do that here.
Yeah, I know. And there's lots that are ready, willing, and able to do that. There's lots of good people that are wanting to do that.
I have to believe
I
have to believe there's millions of people out there with expanded or extended, or whatever you want to call it, hearts consciousnesses, carrying a lot more light than dark, whatever you want to call, however you want to term it, using the correct verbiage for you. That there's many out there that are just waiting for the opportunity in a sort of sense, if you want, or the call, if you want, however you want to call it, however you want to put it, a bit like you with the mayoral, Mr. Mayor.
Well,
so,
and the thing is,
that was a calling for you, and you jumped and ran at it, my friend. You know, for a while there was nothing, there was no mention of mayor, and then all of a sudden we've got a Mayor Love Muffin sat here, you know.
But the thing is, Lee, with that mayoral position, I mean, I took a run at the governor of Central Canada, or governor of Central Bank of Canada, which I knew was just a frickin', you know, just a poke in the face of the corporate agenda. Then when I did that, I knew damn well, but they did see it. And, you know, whether my prime minister read my whole thing or not, my prime minister, that prime minister thing or not, doesn't matter. His secretary read it. The lawyer that was collecting them read it and got back to me. And I said, please, I know that you know what the truth is, that I know this monetary system. He says, oh my God, Randall, you know, he says, like, I don't know what else to say other than I can only pass it along. I said, then pass it along. Somebody else has to read it. That's all I want. One heart is affected by that letter. My heart glows with liquid light. So get it passed on. But in the case of politics, Lee, and the challenge for most people is that all of these political dynasties, these realms, these whatever you want to call them, these ridiculous notions are set up in that legal jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So it's almost impossible for anyone to get involved. However, a mayoralty position is just simply voted in, and you know, maybe they'll bring in the Dominion voting machines, but I don't think but that, you know, that position,
you got the manipulation codes.
Yeah, it is a place to infiltrate, and that's what I saw it as, is that I can actually be the mayor, and then you're in a position where those politicians can't ignore you. When I step up and start asking questions of the provincial or the federal, even if these things still exist, and by that time they may not, you know, because people are changing so fast. But
sorry,
you know,
no, I'm with you, Randy. I'm just trying to stop this bloody phone ringing, my friend. Two seconds.
That's okay.
I'm not sure how to at this point. Shit, where's plane mode? No, I'm with you. I mean, I don't disagree with you about the politicians. I just believe that many of them maybe got trapped in positions I don't know, or are being told what to do, puppeteered, etc., with certain baggage or things connected to them that they don't want released for their own. But it's all egoic. It's all self-control, ingratiating, feathering their own nests. You know, I can do this and maintain myself at the expense of lots of others, but that's okay. I'm happy. Well, that's not going to be the in my mind anyway, that's not a divine consciousness. That's not Christ consciousness. That's very self-conscious. And going forward, we want the people that are in those positions are going to be more conscious of others and everybody else, not themselves. This isn't about me or you per se. We've I've seen enough, and you've seen enough to say, I could go and happily live in a RV, and like Vicky did, in the outbacks of nowhere. I saw somewhere yesterday in the middle of America, North America, where they got bunkers, and they were or selling off these bunkers, old World War II arms munitions, concrete bunkers, 30K US, and you get this bunker, and it's yours forever. I don't know. So it's not about us anymore, is it? I think this is where the difference changes. Is you become more, no, not me now, everybody. It has to be about all. This is where, if it's no good for everybody, it's no good for anybody. All right. And I love these thoughts and these ideas. And so I'm working with this, anybody and any scheme or notion or idea or new system that is that is inclusive, that is thinking of everybody, and it is talking in terms of comfort and not limitation, and freedom as opposed to control, and certainly no manipulation. So transparency, and the only way you get that is through here. We can say it's. I nearly did say it's that, but it's that. And that's where we are. We're on that cusp of people like me and yourself talking, the people like Charlie, people like Kim, all of these people are doing this, even though some are still want their name on the top, but it's for everybody. And that's beautiful, brother. And that's beautiful. And that's where we are. And this is why I can't stop this. And the excitement every morning when you wake up is like, okay, what are we going to do today for everyone? Even if it's being sat down by yourself, thinking, that's what I do a lot. I'm isolated. I'm self-isolated, really. And I've never felt so apart of everything, isolated, but apart. Whereas before I was a part of everything and felt so isolated. It's really strange. The whole thing is upside down and inverted, right? And it's a beautiful time. And one of the benefits of COVID is it has, as much as it's manipulation and bullshit propaganda, it allowed this time for everybody. Now, whether they took it or didn't take it, it matters not. Their eyes would have been open to a certain degree from somewhere or another, be it into another form of manipulation that they're seeing and thinking, what? Or another expected result, like I'm going to be on holiday. Oh shit, I can't because now it's lockdown again. What? Either way, it's still it's going in and it's breaking down these propaganda indoctrinated patterns inside people. As much as people are fighting back and still that Stockholm or Munchausen syndrome, that loving your captor is still there. As much as it is, I see it slowly breaking down, my brother. I don't know. I still do. Slowly. I'd love to see it go woof. But
and you brought up a really good point there, Lee, is that, in spite of, there's still love working. Like it's still, this whole God creation, whatever you want to call it, this love realm that we live in is still working. And we try to avoid it by challenging it. And, that's been yours and my role, or my role maybe more than yours, because I want to challenge it and I want to get in its face, the system's face, However, what you just said is so crucial. And Andrea and I talk about this or visit about this quite often, how, everything is truly love. Everything is truly heaven on earth. And we are the only ones, humanity, the human consciousness or the collective consciousness is the only thing that's not in harmony with that. But when you think about it, maybe we are still in harmony with it.
Is that
because what you just said, that even with COVID and having to sit at home, people are being not forced, but being put in a position to go within, and more of them are shutting that damn television off. We can see that, like the mainstream media numbers are just dropping like rocks, so it's giving these people an opportunity, maybe find a entertainment, but they're even sick of being entertained. I think people are just starting to really go within and say, why am I here on this earth? What is my purpose? Is it to just be mine and mine things, or is it to, think in terms of love for all, like you said? And I really think we've turned that corner, brother.
I'd love to think so. I mean, I believe, I mean, I don't know. For me anyway, it's not in my face. I don't see it outside. I don't notice the compassion necessarily from other people. There's very much, everybody's walking around in fear still. But
Yeah.
that's their mask, that's their mask on the outside. That's just that's just the system, the matrix that's causing that on the outside. They don't know how to be themselves anymore because they've kind of forgotten. And they relax when they're at home and friends come around, but when they're out, and I still feel this, and it's very, very tangible, certainly where I live. But I know it can't be that way. I speak to too many people. I see too many things for my little aspect of what I see to be the general consensus. And I know it isn't, so as people lose their masks, as people become empowered with their own self, in their own knowing that whatever happened was wrong, it's okay. We can put this right. There is no reason to fear. All right. And we can remove that level of fear, and that's just replaced by love, right? So fear is just a lack of love. That's what it is. It's an aspect of it. It's not an opposite. It's just you still love, you're just in fear. Just lose the fear. All right. So as we bring this up, and as we change the mindsets of people, or as they do it themselves, it's not us. It's the individuals themselves that change themselves by just taking a step back and thinking, are they talking at us or are they talking the truth? Why are these guys saying this? There's two bold fellas, that one lives in the UK and one lives in Canada, talking about love, freedom, and compassion for everybody. What's going on? Are they still men? Yes. There is no, but this is that breaking down of this social normality, which is abnormal. We've been taught that normal is abnormal, and the vice versa, abnormal is normal. And all we've got to do is break that. And it's quite simple. It's just by making a choice. Do I want to live in fear of what they're telling me? Or do I ask questions about what it is I should know, what it is I'm fearing from somebody else? Where can I find that other source of information? Oh, it's an alternative news media. You must be a conspiracy. No, just go and look. Don't worry about judgment. Don't worry about this thing that other people put up on you. Go and look, make your own mind up, and don't say it can't. It can. There's so many things that can. Everything can happen once you start to realize that this stuff is actually going on, has gone on, and this is what we've been brought up in. His story has been manipulated the same as monetary value and monetary content and everything else that's around us. Education has been manipulated. Take the word man, anything in front of it is you pretty much manipulated. So if we can start to not manifest, we can manifest for ourselves, but create for all, right? Creation, right? I want to create. If you sit down for 5 minutes and say, I would love everybody in the world to have comfort, wouldn't you? Would that hurt just to say that? You might not believe it initially, but if you say it enough, you might fucking start. And after a while, with us saying these things to ourselves and, and feeling this way to ourselves, we know it is the case. It's not a case of having to believe it or anything. We know, Randall, don't we? We know that this is wrong, and that the answers are there, and that we know that we have the answers. I'm not going to say me and thee, but we have all of the answers we need. And I'll bring this back slightly, if I can, to the GPMS idea, which is the global people's monetary system. Rick Jewis, and yourself. I know there's a few others that were involved in the inception of this idea, but it basically gives the power to people to choose what they want with their money, when they want it, how much they want. It unlimits. It's an infinite amount for every individual, from source, from when you're born. You have an unlimited credit facility. There is no debt. We know there is no debt. Debt is a construct. It's an illusion to create slavery. We know this. Lots of people don't. So lots of people look at this and go, well, who's going to pay for it? What? Well, who pays for the debt now? Nobody. So if we cannot start to understand or understand what the system was and how it was used to manipulate us, then we can use that system to release us. And on the same note, remove that word basic, remove that word limitation, and give comfort and unlimited freedom for everybody to experience and grow without the fear. Yes, if they want to go into fear and experience fear, they're more than welcome to. There's no reason why you can't. You know, we've all done enough of it. Personally, I've had enough of the fear, you know. I've had enough of quite a few of these old systems. Personally, I've experienced them quite a lot. So I'd like to experience something different. And if I would, I'd like everybody to. And this is, I think, where we broach these subjects from the point of view of the all, not just the individual saying what the all would benefit from, and then invite everybody to have their input into how they would like that to work. Lots of people won't. Lots of people will just say, give me the money. Okay, sweet. But that doesn't mean to say that it needs them, but the people that are doing it will have them in mind, not just the elite group that are setting up and trying to progress this so that we free everybody into unlimited freedom of joy, really, and bliss, and all those other lovely words that sit way, way, way above fear in that love spectrum.
Yeah. And you know, something that, like, I really appreciate Rick Jewers for what he's you know, initiated there, and also the fact that he's allowing it to just grow organically with people like yourself and many others who are participating now. But you know, we, as early as the 60s, I'm going to say, there was men like you and I out there that you know, realized that love is the answer, right? And you know, John Lennon being one of them, maybe, you know, but there was a lot more. And then they started the idea of communities, and there's still that idea out there too, that, okay, we just start a community, we find the investment to do it, because they still need funding to get these communities started, and then they kind of grow from there. And there's so much talent, so much wisdom in some of those communities and everything.
Yeah.
The thing is, this time around, is that we've taken it to that world level. You know, me and my global theory, but you know, we've taken it to the world level, and we're not backing down. Like, you know, you and Rick and I and numerous other ones. And I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal, brother, but we're not fucking backing down. No. You know, we know that this can be done on a world level. You know,
the community idea can work. It can just work inside cities. You know, it can work inside countries. When we're talking about the funding for those communities, well, they had to create those communities because the structures were still there in power that weren't able to be taken down at that point in time. They were maybe too powerful, if you like. But I believe that this point in time is that time when those structures do fall, and now it's up to us to create those communities. Now, do we want these hippie communities, if you like, if in the 60s, interspersed all over the place with and keep this system, or do we want to incorporate those sort of ideas into this system? And I believe that there is no limit to the ideas that can be used to create this. So anybody can move anywhere, because there shouldn't be any nation states, right? There should just be freedom of movement. You can go and live wherever you want. And therefore you can choose openly where you want to be and what communities you want to set up in. You know, this is about changing from inside out. You know, I don't like that. You know, I never have. Always thought break down those structures, but let's just take them and see what's useful out of them and recreate them, but for the benefit and use of everybody. You know, not just a few. And this is where we start. Now, if you could introduce if we can get some humanitarian aid in the meantime, while these false structures are being disassembled, sorry, even though they are in front of our eyes, brilliant. You know, it's excellent. And the same with the assemblies. If they can release some of the debt and therefore the enslavement, entrapment, oppression on people, oppression, in the meantime, wonderful. But in that time, there's this GPMS.world, www.gpms.world, where you can go and have a look at all this stuff that we're talking about from that point of view. And all it does is it asks you whether, as a vote, do you like this idea or not? And yeah, it says sign here or put your authority here. And lots of people have got problems with that because of the abuse of the signatures and the sign your natures. And, you know, we've got a lot of things that as you wake up cause more problems. So now we've gone from a signature. Nobody wants to give that anymore at a certain level because they know what it was. So now it's an autograph, an authority from yourself. Well, call it what you want. You know, it doesn't make any difference. This is just a vote. Do you like this idea? And once we get enough people around the plane to say, yes, we do like this idea, then we will roll with that idea. But by that time, there should be I don't know, we're looking at 1 to 1.7 billion, I believe, that we'll have a large ability to think and to collect and to brainstorm with those 1 to 1.7 million. And we'll take that voice to whoever still has this semblance of control and say, look, this is what the people want, and bring it on. And energetically, you and I know that that sort of amount of energy, positive energy and consent and is unstoppable. We can say a lot of it's unstoppable anyway, you know, but realistically, it's the people coming together and the unity of the people that changes this aspect of where we're going through this transitional period. That's what changes it. When everybody comes together and starts to think of everybody else rather than just themselves. And the only way they're going to do that is to really release all of their fear. Now we've got the monetary fear, we've got the debt fear, we've got the disease fear, and all of these fears that are constructs. You know, the fear of terrorism, the fear of this, that, and the other going on. It's all created to keep us individual. And once we start to tear that down and see that that's not real, that's not real, and that's not real, it's all propaganda from a propagandized, it's fiction. What we see on the TV is fucking fiction, made to look real. And unfortunately, the fiction that we do see on TV, i.e. the stuff they say is wrong, is fact. So it's all ass backwards. But once we can see through that and see through that deception, see through those lies, then we realize that there is options for us. And then we can research those options. And these are what we give you, isn't it, Randy? And this is where you've been so resilient and so relentless in your pursuit of putting these out and this out for the last 8 months. Well, probably however long you've been doing it. I salute you, sir. My love to you, you know, because without this input to the collective, that shift and that information wouldn't be there for them to switch. So I love all of these offset alternative chats that people have, regardless, you know, the giving of information, regardless of their intent. You know, if it's my mind, so what? You've just given information to people. You know, you can have that bit, but that information now is for all. You know, and when you realize that unity and actually coming together and creating together is much, much more powerful than saying, I have this and this is mine and I need my name on that. No. And that's where we really start to step forward. That's where I believe anyway, brother. What do you think?
Oh, perfect, my friend. And I mean, collaboration is what you and I have been doing for the 8 months that we've known each other, you know, and whether it's been a little quieter at times to get into that self-discovery or whatever, it's still been there daily. But you know what I'm feeling right now is I just kind of take a look and we're up close to an hour, and I value our audience, AU, our gold, so much that I don't think that going over an hour we'll start to repeat ourselves even more. We've got our message across for today, and I look forward to doing this again, brother. But I think I'm about ready to shut her down for this time.
All right, that's fine. No, there's nothing more I was going to say. I wanted to get it. I think we've said an awful lot, my friend. I think it's been beautiful, and hopefully it'll make a bit more people aware that there are options out there, regardless, you know. And as we push this forward, it's going to be well. Let's just watch. I'm excited to watch this unfold. You know, I love you, brother. I love everybody out there, guys. So I'll sign off, and I'd like to let Randy do the last little speech, of which I maintain every single word. Thank you very much, Randall.
I just wanted to give the link. We're going to put that in for GPMS. We'll put that into this video, and we're going to get it up on Tao Eternally and on Randall's channel and wherever else we can spread it to, folks. So get the word out there, and please vote on that GPMS, because it's just a vote. It's your autograph on a work of art, okay? And you're then the part of that co-creator of that artwork. So with peace, harmony, love, abundance, and freedom for everyone and everything every day on our minds, abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria. Thank you for listening, guys. We love you so much.